Welcome to the Fractured Families podcast. I'm Charity, your dedicated parental alienation coach, here to guide and support families as they navigate the challenges of high conflict divorces and custody battles. On this podcast, we'll share insights, practical strategies, and hope for those on the journey toward healing and justice. Whether you're personally experiencing these challenges or just want to learn more about the complexities of parental alienation and custody disputes, you're in the right place. You are not alone. This is the Fractured Families podcast, where every voice matters and every story is heard. And if you find my conversation helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us reach more families who need it. Thanks for joining the Fractured Families podcast. This is Charity, your host. I have with me today Robert Black. Robert is an alienated father from his daughter, who's 3 years old. He is not yet in court. He is dealing with parental alienation and struggling to spend time with his daughter, who he hasn't seen since January 7th. Robert, thanks for joining. And tell us a little bit about what you're facing.
A nightmare. That's the only way to put it. It's a nightmare. Me and Vanessa's mother have had a very rocky relationship. Vanessa's 3. She's my little buddy. See my shirt? Vanessa's dad.
But love it.
That's my buddy. This is what Vanessa got me for her first Christmas. And man, that's my buddy. If I'm off work, I've always had it. Me and her mother just didn't work out. Her mother got caught cheating in May, and I left. I couldn't do it anymore. There's just certain lines you cannot cross. And, we argued for about a week, and then we went into this co-parenting. And it worked out with my work schedule so that I was working at the time. I'd get off Sunday afternoon. I'd go pick up Vanessa. And then I would be off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Wednesday night, about 8, 9 o'clock, Ray was supposed to pick baby up. However, usually ended up being 10, 11, 12 o'clock. She's horrible about time, man, horrible. But I tolerated all that. It was for Vanessa's best interests. Tolerated a lot before we split, because Vanessa, the best outcome for a child is for both parents to be active and a part of their lives. They need their mother for things. They need their father for things. The mother can't step in and do the father's task. The father can't step in and do the mother's task. Each has their own roles. And we discussed in May that ultimately, since we weren't working out, the best interest of Vanessa, which a lot of states now are starting to recognize more and more every day, matter of fact, is to co-parent, shared, fair, and equal. Work together for the best of the kid. That's what a parent should do anyways. My priority has always been my little girl. I've got Vanessa half the time because of my work schedule. I got a new job, and even that schedule worked out. It was 7 days out of every 14 I worked. And that was all the way up till right around Christmas. There was nightmares. The always late. There was the Father's Day. You don't get to see your daughter because you don't deserve to. And then finding out later from her, the boyfriend said you weren't allowed to see your daughter. And what is that? But I grit and bear, man, because the key thing was I missed one day, but I've got all this other time.
So let me ask you, Robert, during the relationship, what was the co-parenting like during the relationship?
I come in from work and I take care of my daughter. Aloof, man. She's a good woman when she wants to be. But I would pull in the driveway and Vanessa would be crying. I could hear her in the driveway. And I'd go in and pick her up. There's baby carriers. You tie them on. I bought one when at a yard sale, new in the box, when Ray was still pregnant. She swore up down she's going to use this all the time. This is a month or 2 old, and I'm looking for something, and I reach under the crib, and there's that box. So why didn't you use this? You use it every day. And she's, I don't know how to use it. I laid it out on the bed, put the baby in it, and if I was home, the baby was there. I have to share some pictures of Vanessa and everything. That's where Vanessa was. And I would go and play Cold War Zombies. I started playing it offline because I never wanted to interrupt anybody that I would be playing with, to pause to change a diaper, to pause to feed, to pause to do anything. So me and Vanessa would sit and play zombies. You'd sit on my lap, on my chest, and we'd sing and dance. So I had a cell phone that I used as an MP3 player. It had a whole bunch of songs, man. Old Randy Travis, Three Wooden Crosses, I'm Gonna Love You Forever. All kinds of songs. George Strait, Brad Paisley, Waiting on a Woman. little bit of rock, you know. I had a recording of my grandpa singing God's Coloring Book. So that's a bluegrass song. And, we sit and sing and dance and kill zombies. She needed a diaper. Zombies stopped, and we went over and changed that diaper. There was a double set of bunk beds. And Vanessa's cat would climb up on the top bunk and stay right out of her reach when she was trying to learn to crawl. And I'd get Nessa up in the position, go knees under the butt, Nessa knees under the butt. She'd scoot a little bit forward and just be at reaching Evie. That was the cat's name. And Evie would skip back just another couple inches. So Vanessa learned to crawl. Vanessa had her little seat. You know, if you fold your leg up on your up knee and you got that little hole, that was Vanessa's spot, man. That she sat there. I held the bottle. I fed her. Her mother.
You played a very active role in the household when you were there.
If I'm not at work, Vanessa's with me. That's how it always was.
So May comes along. You find out she's cheating. Yep. You say you're done.
I'm done. I'm out. I'm done. I'm not tolerating it.
How does she take that?
She didn't care. At first, she didn't care. And then all of a sudden, it was a big deal. And then she didn't care again. Always all over the place. Her and the new boyfriend were having issues, and she was begging for a second chance come August. Or June, July. I looked at her in July. I said, if we're going to do this, no title, no boyfriend-girlfriend title, but we're going to be dedicated to the other. There's no entertaining others. There's no going on dates and hanging out with the opposites. You know, people that have made clear their interest is to date you or to hook up. I don't do it to you. It's a thing of respect. It's a thing of loyalty. And she agreed, and come to find out, she never cut it off with the other boyfriend. So when I found out, I said, that's enough. I'm done. You burned your second chance. The only reason she got a second chance, because the reels on Facebook, if you would know the truth. Because I'd be scrolling through Facebook, and there'd be all these scrolls, all these reels saying how parents should be together for their kid. I tried. Yep. I've tried everything I could.
So when you ended it, and during that time that you ended and she had the new boyfriend in May, you had time with Vanessa. There was no problems at this point.
For about a week, there was an issue. The initial first 4 or 5 days, but right like that. You know, I was impressed. I was surprised. Anytime we'd had spats in the past, she'd always withheld the baby from me. She left me off the birth certificate at birth to cause me problems.
And you eventually got on.
Oh, yeah, I did. I went and called the child support office and said, Vanessa's my daughter. They're like, what do you mean? I said, Vanessa's my daughter. Well, it really doesn't matter because I've been there so much. She's mine. I would shatter me and that little girl and find out she wasn't.
Right.
But I went to the courthouse, signed paperwork, and immediately got put on child support.
Yep. So you're paying child support. Yeah, you're paying child support. So we'll talk about that, but let's talk about this January storm where you had Vanessa and she was supposed to come pick her up.
Well, January came this year. Red'd been begging since her and the boyfriend broke up in November for me to get back with her, and I kept telling her no. I messed up. We did the holidays together. I didn't have nobody else to do the holidays with. You know, I had vouchers from work for meals. She has a kitchen at her house, you know, it worked. But she was wanting to get back together. And no, can't do it. She'd been dating other people. And I've been telling her, you know, dating other people, trying to get back with me and then throwing it in my face, you're seeing these other people, doesn't make me want to be with you anymore. It furthers my resolution not to. Well, New Year's Eve came. And like 10 o'clock at night, she wanted me and Vanessa to go down to where she lives. And I told her, no, me and Vanessa are doing things. It's my time with Vanessa, not, you know. And she started throwing a fit. January about 4th or 5th, I drove down to pick up Vanessa like I always do. And I informed her that I may be moving. I'd been told of an opportunity. It would allow Vanessa to have her own bedroom finally when she was with me. It would give me, because I was renting the bottom half of a bi-level home. It had everything but a kitchen downstairs. It was going to give me the kitchen for Vanessa. It was going to give me a dining room for Vanessa, a bedroom and a playroom for Vanessa. But I didn't know anything more than my dad doesn't go downstairs. It's a condo in a nice neighborhood. You know, are you interested? So I'm doing the right thing. I'm telling her a day after I get told about it. She starts jumping up and down for joy. She's going to move in, and I say, no, you're not. She tries to withhold Vanessa. Me and Vanessa leave. 2 days later is when the storm hit. The first storm of the winter, really, this year for us in Kentucky. I told her right before I told her about my opportunity to move that there was a storm coming in to look see what time, because Sundays we always would exchange back. And I volunteered to keep her till Monday, which initially was okay until told her she wasn't going to move in. She immediately wanted Vanessa back. She immediately then wanted to pick her up Saturday morning first thing, and then she settled on noon Sunday because the storm wasn't supposed to start till noon, 1 o'clock. Give her time to get up here, take care of a couple of things, get Vanessa, get home. She lives about an hour away. Well, problem is she didn't wake up till 11:47. The storm hit before she left her house at 1. She blamed me up and down. I'm trying to set her up. Don't make no sense to me. Before she left the house, I told her everything's already under level 2. If you're not aware, Kentucky's got, each county's got different levels. The county she lives in only has a 2-level system. They were still at 1. The other counties have a 3-level system. 1 being, hey, bad weather. 2 being, really don't go out. And 3, it better be an emergency if you're out there. Because if we pull you over, you're good, you're in trouble. Everything was at 2 still. Or it was already at 2 at 1 o'clock when she left her house. And I'm like, don't come up here. Roads are bad. They're covered. She says there's going to be another 6 inches in the next 4 hours, but the roads are fine now and coming. She stopped and did some shopping, shows up to get Vanessa at 4 o'clock. And I told her, I said, this is crap. I said, this is unsafe. This is that. I wasn't near as friendly as I am being here right now. I was very strong in my language on this, but I'm a man of my word. I told her that she could have Vanessa back unless it was a level 3. Nothing was a level 3. I literally had my phone out checking the emergency levels as I was walking Vanessa to the car. Ray decided to stop and shop some more before she went home. Ended up getting stuck. Went to the ex-boyfriend's house, who I just found out threatened to harm my daughter at some point. I don't even know when. But she went over there, hung out with him all night, hooked up, and then some third guy she's dating the next day, and I can't see my daughter. She's given a million excuses. Anything from my health, the fact that I was looking at moving, unstable housing. I'm choosing to upgrade. You're throwing a fit because Vanessa ain't got her own room, and you don't like my roommates, and they don't like you. Oh my gosh, I can't think of all the million things. And I kept telling her, none of this matters to visitation. It's not right. Well, you're behind on child support. Child support doesn't affect visitation either way. Whether you pay it or you don't pay it, you're behind or you're ahead. It doesn't give you any say in visitation or anything. Further, Kentucky's a 50-50 state, so it defaults back to that unless there's neglect, abuse, or domestic violence. So none of those existed. Ray's left the baby in a car before, and I have my opinions on a lot of her activities, but, we agreed to do what was right for Vanessa. So she took the baby and hasn't let me see her. I may have been told 3 times she's fine. I get nothing, no type of update whatsoever than she's fine. She's happy. I'll get the little taunts that she don't need a father. She's got her nay. That's because her new boyfriend's name's Nate. I'll get text, why don't you take your name off the birth certificate? And you won't even, because you don't matter anyway. I'm just hateful. I've been trying, hateful, horrible things.
Do you get to talk to Vanessa on the phone or FaceTime?
I have not seen or heard my daughter since January 7th. She won't. That just means I'm not going to be in a relationship with her. I mean, that's a thing of self-respect. But do I hold it against her? No. She left the baby in a car and paid $2,500 to a lawyer, and then took a parenting class I set her up with and got diversion for it.
So they knew she left the baby in the car and she got caught? That's
the time she got caught. And her followed many a times because she goes to she has a daily appointment. Now it's bi-weekly, but it used to be daily. And she would leave the baby in the car while she ran in real quick for 5-10 minutes. I'd be on break from work talking to her. She'd be like, hold on. I'm going to run in here real quick. I'd lay into her. Like, when she get back, you can't do that. It's unsafe. Oh, well, the doors are locked. The car was running. She had a Chrysler 200. You leave the car running. You just have to hear ding, ding, ding. I'm like, it don't matter. When she got caught, she said the cop was abusive and aggressive to her because he wasn't worried about the baby. He was more worried about drugs. I tried to explain to her. I said, he's trying to figure out why a sane, sober woman would leave a 2-year-old, Vanessa was only 2 at the time, in a car and go in grocery shopping. I'm just thankful that the cart attendant seen it. I like to think she hasn't done it since. I haven't caught her since. I haven't heard of her doing it since. But yeah.
So your relationship with Vanessa, even during all this, it was still really strong.
Vanessa's my buddy. I put up with anything, almost anything for the little girl.
So she takes her back in January. And what is the arrangement? Would you get her every other weekend?
The arrangement was when I was off work, I got my daughter. At the time, that would put it at, I was working a job where I worked 2 on, 2 off, 2 on, every other weekend, 3 days, either working or off, 7 of every 14 days. I would always go and pick Vanessa up. Her mother would always come and pick her up for her time. I would meet usually somewhere else other than my house, kind of would make it easier and quicker. She's more likely to show up closer on time if we're somewhere else. It also gave me witnesses that she was habitually late. Hate to say that, but when you know it's a volatile situation, you have to. I mean, the woman's attacked me with a ball bat and then went and had an EPO. And it got thrown out, thank God, because I recorded the event. But you know, when things like that are going on, you know, you got to start recording things, start documenting. You got to start having witnesses, unbiased witnesses, verbally, professional witnesses, people that can verify what you say. Like the parenting class I got her into was through a program. I was with an organization I've been familiar with for a couple of years, and I knew they did free parenting classes. So, you know, me and Vanessa go up there all the time to see the people. They're like family to me. So for Ray to go up there, it was fine. I didn't expect Ray to take the baby disheveled and everything else up there because it is a medical type ordeal. It's a drug rehab. People with addictions. I've been clean for 5 years. I've been going up to the pier for about 3. I was teetering, and I called up there, and Miss Adrian just come up here and talk to me, and she's family. Miss Adrian refers to me as her son, and Vanessa's her granddaughter, and those two dance and play. It makes Vanessa's day, it makes her day. But and see, that's something else, man. I always make sure when I have Vanessa, we've got these bathrooms around here. You go push a red button, lights go out, disco ball drops, music plays. Me and Vanessa go to those. She wants to dance. Me and Jess will dance. One of them plays a Rihanna song. One of them plays a song from the end of Dirty Dancing, and the other one's a real good rock song from like 80s, 90s. We go and push the button and dance. Harper Oil Products, Hop Shops. Those are the 3 we've been to. I plan to try to go to the other 2 that I'm aware of in Kentucky and then find out about the 2 in Ohio if they exist or not. We have a grocery store around here that has a penny pony. I always make sure to take Vanessa and let her ride the penny pony 3-4 times, and we always leave 2 pennies for the next kid, just in case they ain't got coins. Trying to teach her to be sharing, to share and to be giving, you know. Because there's been times when I didn't have but $1 bill and was trying to get change for it, and somebody's handed me 3 or 4 pennies to let her ride that horse. And we always throw 2 right there at the bottom of it. And that way they're there for some little kid. I make sure she goes to the museums. We went to the Cincinnati Children's Museum. We went to the butterfly exhibit at the Crohn's Observatory, the zoo. I usually try to keep a membership for that. Just goofy things, man. I don't care about none of that. But it's watching her just run and play and smile and giggle. And even when I was with her mom, man, you don't see me in the pictures. I'm in the background. I'm holding the camera. I just, let them do it. There's a thing around here called Wolf Fest. We went there and Vanessa fed animals. I'm holding the camera.
So what happens next? And what are you thinking you're going to do to get to see her again? I mean, what is your plan?
Currently, make sure I keep friendly, polite conversation as best I can with the mother. One way I'm doing that is using ChatGPT to filter all my conversations. Laugh all you want.
Very
But
smart. No, I love it. I encourage people all the time. I mean, there's a father's rights war room that I tell the guys, put your documents into ChatGPT, put your responses, and it takes all the emotion out of it. It's sensational. I
You don't know
love
how
it.
many times I've deleted what I'm saying because it's like, "No, I don't need to say all that." You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But I'll say, like, when you go, let me see, my daughter, you know, parental alienation and isolation is abuse. You've called it abuse yourself
Mhm.
when you thought your ex and his mother were keeping your older children from you. Um, you called it abuse, and then you called it a violation of your rights. So when you gonna stop abusing Vanessa? And then I'll tell ChatGPT, like, make it professional, legal, and more concise. And it'll clean it up to something nice,
Mhm.
neat, in a small little
Yep.
package. Um, when she gaslights me and infuriates me, and I'm rah, 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 and shot her mouth off at me about it. Because I'd contacted him because he was see firsthand knowledge of things like Ray going to bed at 6 a.m. Vanessa gets up at 7 and then runs the house. Well, when Brendan was around, Brendan would take care of Vanessa. If the big thing right now is I'm trying to condense everything down into something you can understand. I've got 3 phones. Voice recordings, text messages, pictures. I've got to get all condensed down. I'm in the process of that. And then it's lawyers. It's $3,000 to start. That's the start. But that's why you pay child support too. And you got to have a roof over your head. And you got to have to pay for your car. You got to eat. You know, when Vanessa was with me, I always made sure Ray didn't bring nothing to me for the baby. More often than not, I was supplying extra to her. So, but like I said, that's what I'm doing right now is trying to condense all that down, try to save me as much money with the lawyer as I can. I keep asking Ray to return to the table. I've told her straight point blank, Kentucky law is 50-50. What she's doing is abuse. It hurts the kids' emotions. They're confused. They're lost. They have trust issues growing up. The daddy issues that all starts to come about because of things like this. So it is abuseful and neglectful to Vanessa and her needs.
Yeah.
It's abuse towards me because she's doing it because she knows it tears me up. It hurts. She can't hurt me any other way than through the little girl. That's what she uses. And it's not that I'm trying to figure out how to say this. What hurts me isn't Ray. It's knowing that Vanessa's being hurt
Yeah.
because Ray
Yeah.
is mad at me.
Well, because she's using her as a pawn to control your emotions. And
Vanessa's
yeah,
innocent. She don't deserve none of this. All this, I keep telling Ray, I'm like, you know, well, you got to do what's best for Vanessa. You know, anybody else with the stuff I have would be selling their kidney to get the lawyer and fry the mother. And it's like, that's not the solution either. Because what am I doing? I'm no better than she is. But then again, it comes to a point you got to protect the kid. If
yeah.
she's unwilling to prioritize Vanessa,
And the more time you don't see her, the harder it gets for her because you don't know what her mother is doing to her when you're not there. And, in parental
Vanessa gets up
alienation.
in the morning and then tends to herself. Vanessa gets her own drink. She's 3. She opens the refrigerator and gets a drink. She is left with pouches. She wanders the house and gets her pouch or whatever she wants to snack on. Ray leaves the TV on for her 24/7. I know what goes on. If she floods the sink, she gets screamed and cussed at. If she floods the toilet or puts something in it, she gets screamed and cussed at. If she climbs up on the bed and accidentally pulls her mother's hair, she gets called a bitch. I've got that one recorded too. So I know what goes on.
So she's not willing to let you see her. What was the last communication you had with her mother for spending time with Vanessa?
The last conversation was yesterday via text, standard, blah, 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 wanting to change the past. That didn't happen. It's like, Ray, none of that matters. That it's not going to change what happened. Some of it's opinions, and we're not going to send the priorities, Vanessa. And she reverts back down to the fact that I won't tell her where I live now. I don't have to. The 18th district, their family court laws state violence. You ain't got to tell them where you live, the partner. Ray threatened at my last residence twice to send people to jump me and my roommate because she was fighting with me or the roommate. I've got it in text. When I was living on Elm Street, would try to get me put on house restriction and locked down. She would try to get Denise to throw me out. She sent people to my residence on Elm Street, but gave them the wrong address. There was 3 doors up. Well, they weren't coming anyways. Dude, you threatened my home numerous times. The twice when at Denise's, Vanessa was with me. And I even told her, I said, look, go on and send people. I said, do you realize you're putting not only me in danger, your daughter's in danger because she's here with me. So like I said, I don't have to tell her the address. It's the 18th, which is the circuit or whatever we're in. Their court laws. There's violence and abuse. You ain't got to tell the address. But rules don't apply to her.
How did you start to realize it was parental alienation? Did you learn about it? Did you see it? Did you read it? And what have you seen in her behaviors besides obviously not letting you see her since January that is parental alienation?
I don't know when I became aware of parental alienation and isolation. 'Cause I know right from wrong.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but I know right from
Yeah.
wrong. The actual terms is something I've learned recently.
Yeah.
But it's wrong. Is what I knew always before. Trying to basically erase the other parent from from existence with the child. It's wrong. Trying to turn the child against the other parent. The two people that should protect that child more than anybody is the mother and the father. One place I've seen it, you lay down with the other one. So why all of a sudden you hate them so much you're trying to erase them from your kid's past, and the kid's half of them anyways. So I've always known what it is. Initially, the terms, I guess, came to my knowledge. Ray's got two older kids that her ex-husband had custody of, and he had left them with his mother, the grandmother. And Ray would always throw a fit, tell him, "You're isolating Kami and Josh from me." Come to find out later, the kids didn't want to come around anymore. They'd come around and they would either be put on babysitters to watch Vanessa or they get given chores. And she always had an unhealthy relationship because, oh, y'all are coming over, we're going swimming. Y'all are coming over, we're going to do this or that. Well, if you do nothing exciting, we don't want to come over. She already made it to that type of a relationship. Like I said, I made sure we do something with Vanessa. But I'm not doing anything super big. It's just something to make a memory. Go to the park. So I sit there and watch Super Kitties with her. I can tell you all the Super Kitties. Just little things like that matter to kids. They don't care about going swimming every week. They don't care about, unless you drain it into your head, that's what they have to do if they're around. They just want time with mom and dad. It makes Vanessa's day. I've got pictures of her sitting on my legs, climbing on my head. That's my buddy, man. Yeah, Kami and Josh didn't want to come around no more. We're not doing anything fun. We're getting stuck babysitting. When that came out, Ray ran down to the courthouse real quick, and instead of trying to get custody of them, she wanted to ensure she'd never have to pay child support for them because she's never paid a dime for them. Everybody agreed and totally took her off all their records.
So she doesn't have a relationship with her other two children.
Say, ma'am.
So you're trying to be cordial with her and spend time with Vanessa, but what happens if that continues to not work?
If that doesn't continue to work, I have to come up with finances to get the attorney sooner than later. I'm going to start a GoFundMe to try to, I got to figure something out. It's hard, man. Pay out a quarter of my check to taxes. A quarter goes to her. Then you got to pay rent, car payment, and everything else. There's no money for a lawyer. The pro bono attorneys, she used them to make sure she never had to pay child support because she's in their system. We've only got the one here. If I got an attorney through them, they could see all her privileged attorney-client information.
Right.
So it's conflict of interest. So they're out of the question. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, I'm just documenting, trying to clean up so that when I do get the money for the attorney, hopefully it's pretty cut and dry. I've talked to a handful. I'm supposed to go and talk to, there's a legal workshop at the courthouse once a week. I'm trying to go to it. I've been trying to get into that. The last 2 weeks it was canceled for some reason. But I looked at some of the other options: emergency custody orders, unfit parent. There's a whole slew of things. But I'm afraid it's going to end up going through the family court system, where I'm fortunate that the judge is very familiar with us. And a lot of the false allegations from the mother over the years. Like I said, there was 4 EPOs she filed and then got thrown out because she was the aggressor. One woman runs down to the courthouse and says he beat me up. I'm in Kentucky, man.
It is, anytime you go into the family court system, you don't know what your fate looks like. And sadly, when it comes to high conflict separation, any allegation is grounds for them to remove the child. Even if it's a 50-50 state, And if she knows this already, that can very well be her strategy.
I was never abusive until all of a sudden she found out that.
Of course.
Before she realized it was a 50-50 state, she assumed that she was the mother and she had all the say. And she mouthed off to me and I screwed up and I said, no, Ray. 2017, they passed the law. It's 50-50 unless there's abuse, neglect, or domestic violence. And guess who all of a sudden was beating her up every day?
Yeah, absolutely. There you go.
Where's the marks?
Yeah.
Where's the bruises?
It doesn't matter. Unfortunately,
It don't. The only thing that saved me is I keep a spare phone on me with a recorder on it.
Good.
Like I told you
Every
earlier, I got all
visit.
kinds of recordings I got to dig through.
Mhm.
Her MO is she'll attack me, call the police, I'll leave, she'll run to the hospital, get them to say that she got beat up. She might have a bruise or a mark here or there. She'll go back to the courthouse first thing in the morning, file the EPO. Now I can't see Vanessa for 2 weeks. I can't talk to Ray. And then she'll call the Women's Crisis Center, which is now the Ion Center here. They'll send people to coach her. She'll talk for an hour to the judge. And I always thought this was the funniest part because these people are sitting there coaching her what to say. She's got tears running. She's got this paperwork. He's so horrible beating me up. I never attacked him with that ball bat. Never did it. No. He attacked me. Threw me to the ground, blah, blah, blah. And then the judge looks at me and says, and what do you have to say for yourself, Mr. Black? I said, Judge, just let me hit play. And the judge looks at me and, yeah, you didn't do nothing wrong. You should have gone and filed an EPO yourself. But I can't decide on EPOs that don't exist. I can only see the ones that are in front of me. And he did nothing wrong. Yeah. That was a good one.
So that's her strategy.
They're ready to fry me and everything. As soon as I hit play, it was done. I mean, you cannot argue with give me the MFing phone and a baseball bat whoosh past somebody's head.
Yeah, recording is going to be key. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough to everybody that's going through this. And that's sadly the strategy that they're using is the silver bullet that you beat me physically or you assaulted our child physically or sexually. And as soon as that happens.
That one time and I went off, I said, you realize what they're going to do to my little girl if you go in there and say that. I said, you better freaking, that one boils me. But I'm also dealing with somebody that has no problem saying whatever about anybody to save her own skin, make herself look good.
Unfortunately, that's the case in a lot of these situations with parental alienation. They will say whatever it takes to keep you away from your child. As long as it hurts you, that's all that matters.
It's her paycheck. Vanessa's a paycheck and a photo op and a weapon and a tool. That's all she is. Ray's never took her to the zoo without me paying and taking her and inviting Ray to come, or the museums, or the butterflies, or she don't even stop at the stores that's got the buttons and push the red button. She's at Myers all the time. Shopping, don't ride the pony. That's just paycheck.
Well, Robert, thank you for joining. We're at time. And we recognize that this is a crisis in America with both mothers and fathers, and that the courts, they don't recognize it. It doesn't matter. They don't recognize it. They don't see it. And ultimately, in the end, Vanessa's going to be the one who is hurt the most.
Vanessa's the one in the short term that's going to be hurt the most.
Yeah.
I hope and pray that what happens once she turns 18 is she comes looking for answers. And then the person that did the damage is the one that will hurt.
Yep.
Because when I find out the truth, they usually cut off that one because everything's been a lie. I'm hoping that common sense returns and prioritizing my daughter happens for once with her so that she can, do what's right by Vanessa. Vanessa deserves a mother, but I'm going to have to do what I have to do to protect my daughter.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you for